So just to show you guys what I did, I took my door panels off, the tops. Yeah, quite a bit on the tops in certain areas, not so much up here, but like over here and on this side over here. This was all like, I don't even know what they call it, like the plastic, if it's out in the sun for a while, for years like it was, it ends up getting like all dried up. And I've seen some people actually take, if it's not too bad, I've seen them take like a blow dryer or a heat gun to it, and you kind of melt it back so it looks like new again. And it actually looked like it worked pretty good. I don't know, I've never tried it. Mine, I think, were a little bit too bad for that. So what I ended up doing, I ended up taking them off, I washed them, and then I took a wire brush like that and just scrubbed them. Got all the loose, dry stuff off. And I thought I was going to lose the pattern, but it actually stayed quite a bit. And some areas I wish that I took a little more. Like right here, you can see it's still a little bit dryish looking, but it's coated pretty good, so it might be okay. And then some areas, well, maybe it got better as it cured, but yesterday, because I did these yesterday, it was kind of like, it's kind of streaky from the wire brush. I wish that I went maybe a little bit more like this way, that way, maybe around a little bit, you know, just tried to kind of blend it. The pattern on here is like a leather pattern, so by doing that, it blend pretty good. And yeah, all in all, it came out pretty darn good. I got this stuff, this is what I coated them with, and this was color matched, medium pebble Ford. This, I talked to the guy who sells the, it's like a dye. It's not really like a paint, it's like a dye. And, but it kind of goes on like paint. It goes on like spray paint. But he said, yeah, this was the match for my particular vehicle. And I did notice it seems like it's a little bit lighter, but that might be because that's probably a little bit dirty. And this is, you see the dashboard, looks like it's a little bit darker tan. Plus it's kind of in the dark a little bit. This is more in the direct sunlight. It's really close, but could have been maybe a shade darker. But honestly, when it gets dirty, it'll probably blend right in. And that may be all that is. So your paint code, if you need your paint code, interior trim, mine is paint code RP. And that's exterior paint is G2, which is the red fire metallic. Interior trim is RP. That's if you had a tan interior. I think there's like 3 different ones that Ford had that year, but I think this one was pretty common. This was actually, I talked to the guy, he said the stuff he had, he knows it was the right color for the full-size trucks, but for a Ford Ranger he wasn't sure, but he looked up that RP paint code, or the RP color code, and he said, yeah, this is a match. Number 340 Ford medium pebble. And yeah, I think it came out pretty darn good. I mean, I had so I think I had like a stress mark right here. It was getting like light color, like a whitish color, so I misted it with that. I didn't end up doing the whole thing, but I did probably more than half of it. I missed it over where there were certain spots. I think there was another stress mark somewhere down here. Blended pretty good. I can't stress enough, make sure you tape everything off, and make sure, you know, you like either tape off or cover it up with newspaper or rags or something, because in here I actually got a little bit overspray and I got it off, but I didn't know until after I started pulling the tape off. I was like, oh man, you know, because like this is black, you know, and I'm kind of picky with this stuff. After putting all this work into this truck, it's like I want it to look nice, you know. So I was able to get that off with, let me go get it. I use like a little artist paintbrush very carefully. Do not get it on the tan, you'll take the tan off. But I used this stuff on a little, I don't have it out, well actually I got, not the one I used, but one like it, something like that. And just try to work down, don't work, have the door panel, you know, the black part kind of how it is, like where it's facing down, so you're not running, so this stuff's not dripping into the tan, because then you could start making a pretty bad mess. But yeah, I was able to get it off with that, and I was surprised how good it came out, especially after that. Now, how long does this stuff hold up for? I don't know. I'm guessing the door panels will probably still look good for the life of the vehicle. The truck's 13 and a half years old, so if I have it another 5 years, even 10 years, I mean, they'll probably look pretty trashed after 10 years, but I could probably do the same thing again, just get another can of this and clean them up, and yeah. Oh, before I did any of this, I washed them carefully. I couldn't, so let me show you something else. So I couldn't take, well, I could, but I didn't want to. These are like plastic riveted on, and I didn't want to mess with that. These, I believe, are bolted on, but I didn't bother taking those off. And these just, you got to pop these off to get to a screw behind here to take this out, and there's only 2 screws holding it, and there's a bunch of clips here, so it just pops off. That, of course, comes off. But yeah, everything else had to tape up. This I taped up. It was kind of a pain getting the tape to stick to here, but if the material's kind of dry, it sticks okay. Make sure you get like up under there, because if you spray onto there, you know, getting it on black plastic, that's one thing, but getting it on like into this material, that's probably a done deal. It's like if you get paint on your clothes, you know what I mean? This thing here, this was taken off. This is just part of the lock rod assembly, so I unscrew that. This here, I wasn't able to get out. Didn't feel like I could get it out without damaging it. This little, I guess you could call it a sleeve or a collet, but I was able to push it up maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and I have a cap, a little rubber cap that was the right size, and I popped that on there because I was trying to tape this off and I just couldn't get the tape to stick. It just was a pain, and I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. So I ended up finding a cap that I had and just covering it up. And yeah, this comes off. This is just a cover, pops off. Like you pop off and swing it out of the way, because this is going to hold it on. So you can't pop it completely off. You probably break it if you tried to do that without taking this off. But I just popped it off, moved it over. There's a screw back here. I forget the size. I want to say it's a T8, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. It's a Torx head screw. And then there's a Phillips screw there. There's 2 Phillips screws there. And there's one behind this panel, like I was saying before. And you got to unscrew this and push the rod underneath this down. And then the door panel actually has, they're like hooks, like, I don't know how to explain them. They're like tabs that hang into the door, and the door panel just slides up and out. And that's pretty much all there is to that.